Hello the internet, and welcome back to Road Hazard. Today you join me in the engine workshop. That's definitely not my tiny garage. And we're here again. You're probably wondering why this thing's back apart. And the reason is I've been having nightmares about the lifter preload on the exhaust lobes on this thing. And I just haven't been able to shake this like uneasy feeling in the back of my mind. So I came out here and I measured. And, you know, it's not great. It wasn't good. The exhaust push rods need to be about 40 thousandths of an inch longer than the intake push rods for this camshaft. So I got a caliper and I spent about an hour and a half doing math and science and measuring and figured out that I need some 7.425 inch rods. So I went on to Summit. I got those ordered. They'll be here at the end of the week. And that's the peace of mind I needed. But because I bought a set of 8 for the original side, or the original size that I bought, which were 7.375s, I went ahead and bought, 16 rather. I bought another set of 16, so I'll have 8 extra of each. So if I have any push rod issues at any point, I'll have a big box with, 16 extra push rods, 8 of each length. So that's peace of mind there. Those will be here, like I said, at the end of the week. So we can throw those in and then put the valve covers back on and be done with this for the third time. The other news that I have is I finally bullied Mancini Racing into shipping me the leaf springs that I already paid for. So those should be here eventually, hopefully soon. All the snow is starting to melt outside, so we can actually get out there and work. It'll be wet and gross, but at least it won't be snowy and I can actually find stuff. So we have that going for us. The other thing is the trunk floor thing. Yep, that guy just took my money and ran away with it. So we disputed that on eBay. Hopefully we'll get our money back. I already bought another one from somebody else. And we'll see on that, I guess. I have actually been in contact with that seller. We've shot a couple messages back and forth. So hopefully those will be coming. But yeah, so parts will be here soon. And we can continue cracking away on that. And get this all back together and mated to that and put into that. Not the door, but what's behind the door. We have to do the brakes still on the car. That's a big one. But we can't do the brakes till the motor's in because the master cylinder and the booster are out of the car. So we got to drop the engine in to do that. So I think what we'll do, hopefully this weekend, maybe today is Wednesday, is try and con my old man into coming down here and giving me a hand. And see if we can stab the motor in the car just to get it in there. And then we can throw the transmission in and I'll start working on shifter linkage and get the drive shaft shortened and all that stuff. And then after that, we can start doing the rest of the stuff that we have to do before the engine, runs and the car drives and stuff. So now that we have all of our parts hopefully ordered and on the way, we can start making some serious progress on this thing. All right, I didn't want to waste any daylight after I got home from work. So here's what has happened today so far. The rear end is mounted in the car. Leaf springs in the trunk. I have almost finished cutting out. It's she flapping. So we cut out the little centerpiece. It's right there. That's the part that the tank hooks onto. It's pretty rotten. So what I might have to do is make my own out of some angle iron. Just drill a hole for the pin to go through, because this is, shedding. So I'm going to get the trunk floor the rest of the way cut out, and then we'll mock the new one in with some self-tappers. Just I put like 3 of them in. And then I will cut up some angle iron and find out exactly where on the bottom of the patch panel they need to go. And then we'll just hook the tank strap thingy-majiggies up there and call it good. It's German dark out here now. Guten dark. But the trunk floor is out. The new pan is ready to go in. I basically cut the 2 little brackety bits off of the other part, cleaned them up best I could. What I'm going to do instead of using angle iron, because I couldn't find it, is I cut some slots. I'm just going to drop those in, weld them up, and they'll be good to go. And then once those are all welded in, we'll drop the pan in, weld it in, and then we'll be done there. So what I got to do tomorrow when the sun comes out and, you know, lights up the sky and stuff, is clean the paint off of what's left of the trunk well and weld the brackets to the pan. And then we'll weld the pan into the car, and then we'll fog it all with that rust preventative paint that we have. That's the plan. I'm sticking to it. I got updates again. Done a little bit of work on the thing. Rear suspension is 99% together. Except with the exception of the shocks. And we're about to get that trunk pan in. I cleaned these all up. We're just going to weld those into those slots I made and then drop the trunk pan in. But we did have a problem, a big problem, with the engine and the transmission and the cross member and just about everything that puts stuff in the car, basically. The transmission cross member I got does not appear to be correct for the car. The motor mounts I have, which came off of a 74 block LI small block, a 318, the engine that was in this car, will not fit the 74 LI small block we're putting back in it, which is the 360. I guess the mounts are different. I just assumed that all the LA mounts would be the same. They're not. So that is not good. We're gonna have to try and get another one. The other thing we ran into was with the glass. I need a new windshield, and I could not find one locally. So I'm trying to look on the internet, which of course means paying hundreds and hundreds of dollars for shipping. The reason for which, of course, I can't remember if I showed it or not. There's a huge crack all the way up on the glass in this car. So we're stuck there too. And with our deadline rapidly approaching, I'm getting nervous. So we're gonna keep cranking on this thing as hard and as fast as I can, but I have a backup plan that we might have to implement. We're trying. I'm trying my best. But like I said, we might have to implement Plan B for this road trip. So I'll show you Plan B if it comes to that. But we're gonna try our damnedest to get this thing together. Right now, I'm working on the trunk. So I'm gonna get this all zapped together and zapped into the car, and then once it's in the car, we'll fog it black with the same paint we used here. I gotta grind all the paint off of the inside of the old spare tire well area so that we have clean metal to weld to, and then like I said, we'll get it all zapped together. These are the 2 cross members that I have. Neither seems to be correct for the transmission that I have, which is there. Oh, I almost forgot. The other issue that I had is the Hurst shifter that this came with does not appear to work at all. I think it's stuck in reverse, but I can't get that to fiddle fart. And I believe when I bought this whole swaparoo kit here, I had another, there's a bunch of shift rods. I can't remember. I thought I saw one in here. Oh, there. There's another shifter. This is probably the factory unit. And this one appears to be okay, so we might have to clean this one up and throw it on, even though I'd really like to use that Hurst competition shifter. So we'll see. I do have that option though. That solves one problem. This is the issue I was talking about, the motor mounts. This is passenger side. That worked perfectly. But driver's side, you got a gap, no matter which way you slice the pie. So that's not gonna work there. And then, oh yeah, there was one other thing I almost forgot too. I thought the kit I had bought with the clutch, the pressure plate and all that stuff had come with a new flywheel. It did not. So I had to use the one that came with that like swap bundle I purchased. And as you can see, it needs to be resurfaced badly. So I have to get that resurfaced as well before we can use it. We got a lot to do. Not a lot of time, especially with my work schedule. So like I said, we're getting down to the wire here. All right, that's all zapped up in the car. Done. You're probably wondering why I didn't, you know, zap it all the way around. Well, you don't necessarily have to, a point which I will now prove. It's in there. I'm like 185, 190 pounds. So, I mean, I'm not really concerned about that coming out of there. So, I'm gonna paint it, and then eventually I'll come in and seam seal it. But for now, we're just going to shoot some of that rust preventative stuff on there so it's not bare metal. And we can go cross trunk off the list. Woo! I huffed way too much paint and I'm seeing stars, but that's fine because she's all black. Top and bottom. And I need to sit down for a little while. There's more paint, I think, in my nose than on the car. So I'm gonna run inside for the day, I think. Made some good progress. We got the floor in, all zapped up and everything. Pretty happy with that. Rear suspension's done. We still have some snafus to work out. Front rest is done. Rear bushings are done. Flush the tank. And that's it. I still have a pretty good list of stuff there, but we have made some pretty good progress. Alright guys, well, as it happens, it looks like we're going with plan B. I didn't want to do it either. But the Duster just needs a little more than I am able to give it in the time that I've got. So, let me introduce you to plan B. Probably should have done this yesterday when it was sunny, but I was fiddling with it, so. Plan B. Yeah. Plan B is a 1967 Buick Skylark It's got a 1984 Corvette 350 and a Saginaw 4-speed. It is the nicest, cleanest, straightest car that I own, probably ever owned. Probably will ever own, to be honest with you. And I've already, like I said, I tinkered with it a little bit already. These bucket seats might look familiar because they're from the Duster. This car came with 1969 Camaro buckets, and I hated them. So I put these in there because they're way more comfortable. They got bolstering. We've got an auxiliary gauge pod down there for all the gauges, basically. An Attack from Bosch. There's that 4-speed. It's got a Hurst Super Comp shifter on it. There's that 350. No options on this guy. We got manual 4-drum brakes. We got manual steering. That is a Brawler carburetor, which is pretty awesome. I need to adjust the secondaries. They open a little late. It's funny, you can actually, it's like driving an old Quadrajet. You can feel it when they kick in. Stand on it, and then it goes, whoop, and it's kind of funny. But yeah, this is just a small block Chevy 350, mildly hopped up. It's got an RV cam, intake, that Brawler, HEI ignition. It's 2-inch exhaust, true duals with an H pipe. It sounds pretty good. It's got an aluminum radiator. I think this one's from Cold Case. And it makes probably 300 at the crank. Enough to move the car around, but it gets out of its own way, but it's not, you know, gonna net me any 90 over the speed limit speeding tickets, because, well, let's be honest. It's got a mostly complete interior, with the exception of the weather stripping. There's no weather stripping on the doors or the window channels. These are just wasted on both sides. This one's all tore up, you can see. So we'll have to replace those. But carpet's pretty good. It's got a Grant steering wheel, which I'm also not a huge fan of, but at least it's not little, they're stupid. Heater works. No AC. Got 5 at 55 AC. No headliner. And the rear, I don't even know what those are called. Those panels. Don't have those either. And then the rear door cards. They've seen better days. This is the original rear bench. The radio does not work, so this is going to be one of those speaker on the dash kind of cars. Which, you know, dash pad's also not there. This is just like a liner you'd put under it to keep it from scratching the metal. The wiper switch is a little funky. I'm going to replace it before I leave. All the lights work, the blinkers work. It's got a brand new clutch. It smells like old man, which is why I've got the little tree in here. I bought it. Ow! I keep doing that. I bought it from an older gentleman who restored it. And he did a pretty damn good job. The paint and body work is mint. The bumpers are painted to make it kind of look like a super stock car. Not a huge fan. Probably gonna get those chromed. I know, listen to me, right? And then the rims. Barf. Big bag of barf. I hate these. They look like semi-truck rims. I don't know why people put these on old cars. To each their own, I guess, but you know, I hate them. So I'm gonna put some rallies on it. But came with a Ram Air kit, not installed, so I'm going to throw that on the car for sure. This paint is Victory Red. It looks really, really good in the sunlight, but we don't have any today, and it's raining, so. But I've been driving this car every single chance I get because I want to find out if something is going to go wrong. I want to know what it is. And one of the things I already had to do was the gentleman I picked it up from had one of those cheese ball, like Mr. Gasket fuel pressure regulators right in here. And with that on it, it was only pushing like 3 psi of fuel pressure. And I was like, huh, that seems low even for the cheese ball unit. Cranked it all the way up, still only pushing about 3.5. This hose down here, which is the feed from the tank, was too long, and there was a huge kink in it right there, and it was restricting fuel flow, so I just cut 2 inches off of it, 2-3 inches, stuck it back on. That fixed that. No more fueling problems. I mean, I've never had a brawler carb before. I usually just buy old junk Hollies and rebuild them, so I'm kind of excited to have a nice one. Fires right up. That's a cold start. You can see by the temp gauge there. Charges, makes great oil pressure. It's a little cold-blooded. The carburetor does need to be adjusted a little bit. It runs pretty fat. So it needs some fiddling. You got to kind of keep at it with your foot to keep it alive when you just start it. Old car stuff, you guys know how it is. It's a small cam, but it sounds pretty good. Not bad, huh? There's already bug splatters all over the front because I've been driving the hell out of it. But yeah, that's our ride. No, we're not selling the Duster. We're not giving up on it. I'm still working on it. But basically, now I have an alternative if this doesn't go as planned. Some of you might be disappointed that we, I don't want to say threw in the towel, but that we gave ourselves an out. And you know what? I hear you. I'm disappointed too, I promise. Probably more than you are. The thought of getting this car back on the road for such an epic drive was super exciting to me because it's been sitting for as long as it has and I've had it for as long as I have. But you know, sometimes these things just aren't in the cards. I don't have a crew of guys that'll work on the car when I'm not here. I don't have a checkbook with an infinity sign in it. I'm just a dude. And sometimes this is how those things end. So we're not done with you yet, Duster. I promise. I will finish this car. Just maybe not for this trip. That's why we have plan B. So, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you, every like, every comment, every subscriber. On that note, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit the button for me. Why not, right? We could be friends. We could hang out. Kind of a bittersweet ending, huh? Well, I'll see you guys next time.